Hello, I'm Chris, and this is my Volkswagen Beetle vent glass, vent window restoration video. So one thing to note, look at that rivet. It has this special washer. And so let's drill that out first. So we just need to take as little off as possible. Be careful, get your frame out. So I have a door disassembly video where we took the door completely apart, the insides, and we noticed that could be a deal breaker for some people. For me, we're just gonna sandblast this and paint it. It should be good. If it was gonna break, it would have already broke. So original frame passed the test. You're gonna check in there for rust. You're gonna check the frame for any kind of kink. You'll just run your fingers down. You'll know if it's kinked or not. So I'm gonna sandblast these parts to clean them up before paint. Make a note that it's painted aluminum color or silver. And on this one, this part is aluminum or silver and this part black. And remember, when you're sandblasting, wear your Crocs so the sand goes in your feet. Sandblasting is going to give you awesome results, but as soon as you get done with it, you go straight to paint. Spray the crap out of that, because that was the rustiest right in there. So after sandblasting, I like to put a lot of paint on there and get it running down in all the corners. I don't want any rust creeping up later behind any parts like that. Hold on. God dang it, that was a silver part. Okay. We do need to paint inside the frames too. No, I'm running out of paint. So the reason I use this paint right here is because I make DIY videos that anybody can do. They sell this stuff at Home Depot. This stuff works really, really well, but you have to put several coats on it. The durability, it's okay for parts like this. So we're gonna put 3 to 4 coats on like that, then we're gonna flip it and do the other side. So we sprayed these super thick. Now the reason I do that is because it is a very disgusting thing when you paint something like this, put it all together and it gets its first rain, and then a couple days later you see rust all in the corners. You see rust like poking up because you didn't spray the crap out of it. You put light coats. You're supposed to paint with light coats, but if you want to seal this thing off, you do heavy coats. So the sandpaper is going to be difficult to go in there, so we use a Scotch-Brite. This is just standard. This is fine. Look at that, beautiful. See how it just dulls it, abrades the surface. Very important note, do not do the black in a gloss. It's gonna look like trash. You're gonna use a flat or a semi-gloss. Do 2 or 3 more coats like that. So this is a very, very serious, important part. If you have a Beetle or gonna restore one, you have to watch this and understand it 100%. Get you a little baggie for your roll pins and your wavy washers. This is the brand new one that I bought for $30. The quality and everything checks out, but it doesn't fit right in the frame. Do not in a million years try to get that handle off because it is pressed on there, as you can see. Or you could possibly pry your handle off, but to put it back on, there is some kind of special machine they use, because look at the way it's pressed on there. Another thing to note is that there is a spring in there. It's broke. Actually very cool. Take a note, this is chrome. It should be stainless. Factory is stainless. It also does not fit the frame correctly and will have to be modified. I've done some research and it looks like it's going to have to be cut off about an 1/8 inch or a 1/4 inch on the front. The good thing is that these handles can be interchanged. The stud right here is the same diameter on both of them. So this piece right here does not pass the test with me, so we're not going to use it. So what we're going to do is use the old pieces and then one new handle and the old handle. Okay, we're going to try 80 grit first, see if we get these pits off. Okay, so we're going to sand that down as good as we can. We're going to prime it. This one, we're going to scuff it with 180. That's gonna make some people cringe, but this is how you make this stuff look right. I'm gonna sandblast them to get in all the little grooves. All right, it's ugly to spray it super thick. I have to go back and sand it. All right, so I spent about 15 minutes straightening this piece back up. Somebody had tried to break in the car. We're using 1/8 inch rivets. We want to go in from the inside. So we're gonna go ahead and put 2 in to line it up. Okay. It did have some little cracks. I opted out not to weld them because it popped right back in place. So that repair should be good. It's strong. See, it's gonna hold everything up. It's not falling apart. Good. So to get the pitting out, we just sprayed super duper heavy primer, and we noticed some more pitting in here. So let's go ahead and just get an idea how I was priming that. Super thick coats like that. Same thing with the little handle that was pitted up. We sanded it down a little bit to put more primer on it. So when I took the glass out, this piece actually broke off, so remove the rivets. Sandblasted in there, clean it, painted. Now we can reattach it. So 1/8 inch rivets seem to work. These are super duper low profile. So ideally we want them to go in from that side, but we can't do that. So beautiful. See how that sticks up in there? That is not going to work at all. You're going to have to grind those down, smash them down. I'm going to grind them. All right, so we have everything just covered in primer. We're going to sand it down with 320 or 400. You saw how we sanded them and sprayed them earlier. That's all we're going to do. Get all those pits out. It looks so much better. Take the time to do that. Same thing with right here. No more pits. No more pits. All right, we're using 180 grit to flatten them out. And then we're using 320 to smooth them down before paint. Dust light coats on it. That's it. First coat, that's all. That's it. So how do you get this to look like this? This is the other side. We left the glass set tape on there so we could really see how it was on there. Now we know. You can see on this one it's stuck because somebody glued it. I don't know if the factory did that or not. All right, so then you're going to get quadruple zero or triple zero steel wool, and you're going to scrub the crap out of this. You will not scratch it, but if you use coarse steel wool, you will scratch it. And then once you get it pretty clean, just some glass cleaner. And there you go. Beautiful. So we're going to get our glass setting tape. I'm pretty sure this does both of them. So we're going to cut it down the middle like, okay, but cut it really, really good on this back part. In case you don't know, you're going to make a taco and you're going to put the glass in all the way around. The critical part is right here. We need to make it exactly in the center. So you could put weather strip adhesive and glue. Some people will do that to hold it in place, but as far as to seal it, if you're going to do that, just do it here at the bottom. You really don't have to all the way at the top. But like I said, they'll use the glue or weather strip adhesive to hold it. So you see how we got that back started, and we're just working off the table's edge. We got it in the center. And we're just going to try to... No, it's going to work like this. It is a little loose though. That worked out very well. Now we just trim the edges. That's why we got a new razor blade. Yeah, be careful not to cut your paint off. Super beautiful. Let me go ahead and get the rest of them cut out. So this is the old one that was all pitted up, sanded, painted. Looks a lot better. It's going to use a little curvy washer to take the slack out and the small roll pin. All right, get the roll pin started first a little bit in there. All right, get the pin started in there. It cannot obstruct that hole in any way. And these can be tricky because see that squishy washer? It has to be squished down before you can put the pin in. You also have to be careful because it will have a range. So if you're not in that range and you're trying to knock the pin in, you're going to break something. All right, roll pins in there. It's in the right range. Beautiful. You know, this is from J-Bugs. You're gonna put the bigger line towards the glass. So from the factory, this one had some kind of weather strip sealant or adhesive in these two corners. You can see some of it left. So on GM, they run a bead on this piece. So if I was gonna put some, I would put some in here a little bit, blob in the corner, bead, and then blob in that corner. That's all the weather strip adhesive you need on the frames. Kind of hard to get it in here. First, we need to cut it to fit the length. So with your little piece cut off, go ahead and practice fitting it in there, because you're gonna have to use a screwdriver to get one side of it started in there. And you can see how that has to go in those little grooves, those channels. Getting them started on the outside first, and then there they go. So see, it seems like it's in there, but it's not. But right there, it actually is. Go ahead and get the real one in there. Okay. All right, let me go ahead and get the rest of it in. So you see how that seal's in there? Make sure it's inside both lips. So for this seal right here, if it's being difficult, you get some dial hand soap. We might have to do it. You're gonna start by hooking it right here, has a hole, and this corner right here. So start it right here. I've never done a Volkswagen. Let me go ahead and get the seal in there, and we'll talk about what I did to get it in there. The only tool I really needed was a screwdriver whenever I was trying to put this seal, trying to push that in. It's gonna be like that, and all I did was just get a little screwdriver, carefully push it in. Well, striker plates, just quadruple zero steel wool. I think we were supposed to put these on first. It has an alignment hole, so okay, it literally lines itself up. Just get like a big screwdriver. Now we can practice putting them in there. So we're having trouble up here with the rivet. This was cracked and this was bent out of place. But what I'm finding out is this little hole right there is wallowed out. I forgot to put these in. Let's see if we can pull this back out, because it did fit kind of loose. Okay, it's coming back out. All right. So now we need, this goes on the outside. So we need to figure out how to get it. We're gonna have to pull this back out. Let's go ahead, jump in and do it. Okay. All right. So whenever we first took these apart, they're super duper rusty inside the frame. Use the same piece of glass setting tape, but look how different it's set in there. This piece right here makes it extra tight. So now the glass perfectly flush with the metal frame. I cannot get it to push any further in there at all. But see, it's stretched our glass setting tape. And now on this one, we have a little void in there now. So it's sealed off 100%, but if water ever gets down in there, it's gonna rust like crazy. And that's what happens to them. So these are off my parts car. I'm just practicing doing these. If you're doing these for real, you want to get some of this stuff and squirt some in there to seal this off 100%. And you're going to put a bead right there all along that little piece. We're going to go ahead and get a 3/16 rivet, and we're going to drill this out to 3/16. So we're about to smash the rivet. This piece right here, this one I had to re-rivet, and I was trying to adjust it. If you don't have a good one, you're kind of in a bad situation. I was able to take the rubber back out, line these up, and get them in the exact same position. As you can see, everything's mangled up. Scratch that up, scratch this up. So we're using a 3/16 rivet. We're gonna go ahead and cut it about the same size. There's this little fiber washer bushing piece. I drilled it out to 3/16. Get that in there. So see how it's poking out a little bit. Now we're gonna have to put this on a flat edge. So this is a punch they use for this rivet. I got this from LMC Truck. You gotta be careful because you can smash your little fiber washer. All right, so FYI, find a 3/16 aluminum rivet. That's the problem. This is a steel rivet. So the next issue you're gonna have is when you try to close it, it's gonna stick up in this corner. You're just gonna have to let these seals adjust themselves to the glass. So if you look at your original ones on your car, these are squished in a whole bunch. So you're just gonna have to give it time. So even on the factory, that line is not super parallel, but try to get it as parallel as you can. Just any kind of clamp thing on there, just to hold it. So I forgot to sandblast these. You're gonna go ahead and put some grease on that shaft right there. This is going to be screwed down and adjust the tension on your wing glass. Still too loose. All right, like that. So it's got some resistance, and this way it'll stay in the position. Maybe a little bit tighter. Nice. So we're not adjusting that just yet because I want the frame to mate with the weather strip. See how when we just clamped it down, it's already pulling itself out. So it's trying to adjust itself. Slowly close it, make sure the gasket's not popping out anywhere. This is all sealing up perfect. It's just that top corner. Go ahead and lock it. So I went and looked on my 72. It's not perfectly parallel. It's kind of like that. So I'm just gonna push that down with my hands, and we're gonna put the clamp on it and just leave it like that until we're ready to put it on the car. My advice to you, if you're gonna do some of these, if your frames are all pitted, rusted out real bad, and especially if somebody tried to break in and mess this arm up right here, it's gonna kick your butt to get that back in its original place. I had to peel that weather strip back, line them up, and I spent about an hour trying to get it bent exactly like that. That's not easy because that arm is strong, thick, and the frame is thin and flimsy. So that's why we did the damaged one first. So if you have good ones, your metal's not too bad, that's in good shape, you're gonna have a success rate of 100%. There's no reason why you're not gonna be able to rebuild yours. Some people are gonna do these in one weekend. Some people, it's gonna take them 6 months to do it. I show you every little step that I can so that you can do yours better, learn from my mistakes. Maybe you don't like this color combination. Maybe you wanna do them all flat black. Maybe seeing this is gonna tell you that, hey, I wanna buy those $300 a piece assembled ones that are chrome because those are gonna look fancy. But putting these on certain cars may not look that good. You can probably tell why I'm working on these because that is ugly and bothers me. Yeah, I guess it would make a big difference. So the window scrapers on the outside and inside are still good, but the vent glass totally screwed up. Yeah, that's way better. So this frame's still good on this side. All the parts are good on this one. And see how this one's rusted out? Not cool. So we can't even use that. Okay, but see how this little gasket like really squishes itself down in there to fit that window? No popping up. So I spent less than $100, and that's to do both of them, including this channel that goes right there. We're gonna do that in another video. So yeah, feel free to ask me any questions, and if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.